What's up, everyone? It's your boy Infrar-Ed. Welcome to the Scout Reports. Today I'm bringing you an anime review of Lostorage Incited Episode 3. Now, this was a very interesting episode as we got a little bit more time with some different characters. Mainly, one character in particular we met at the beginning of the episode by the name of Sho. This guy, he does intend to run until the competition is over. He doesn't care about losing, and we know that Suzu wants to do just that, but her Larig keeps trying to get her to say, no, you don't want to do that. You don't want to lose your memories, right? You don't want to lose the memories of your precious friend. However, this Sho guy, he seems to be okay with that. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all works out. And does anybody else find it kind of weird that we have this series going on along with Magical Girl Raisin Project? I mean, essentially, they're pretty much the same show. You would think they would have set these two in two different cores. And I'm also interested in knowing why somebody actually will want their memories to be erased. I know I already touched on that, but I just feel like it's something bigger going on with that. But also, with that being said, we get the longest Incited battle in this series to date this episode, as Suzu did have a battle. She fought another boy by the name of, I believe his name was Narumi. And the interesting thing about Narumi is he has a Larig by the name of Aya. And Aya had the ability to multiply herself. But Suzu was able to overcome it because we got to see what her coin bet ability Honest does in more detail. That gives Riru the ability to basically have her opponent tell what their exploit is. So it's interesting enough to, and I'm going to say interesting a lot because that's the best word I can say about this episode is it was interesting. It makes me now pretty much want to confirm that with Chunatsu's ability for her coin bet, for her Larig Berserk, it probably makes the selector damage their own cards or something, or use attacks against their own cards, because we saw the person look like it was possessed, that little girl she fought last week. This week with Honest, we see that this boy was basically saying, you know, this is my card's weakness. If you do this, you'll be able to beat it. So it was interesting to see that as well. But his story was even more interesting. Again, you're going to hear that a lot in this review, and I'm sorry for that. As this particular person, he is fighting because his sister was actually a selector before him, which leads me to the question once again of how much time has went past since the first series if we had another band of selectors before them. His sister was a selector. She kept trying to tell him the dire straits that she would be in if she lost the battle, but he just kept ignoring her. He didn't have time for her. And now he is a selector after that. And he can't bring himself to really battle Suzu because she reminds him of his sister so much that it's just hitting a weak spot. His Larig is actually kind of disgusted by this. Like, dude, you sister complex dummy, get a grip. This is your opponent. You need to fight. You don't need to lose. And I can say that it was just that weakness that he had was even more so the reason for her victory. Besides Riru giving Suzu very good advice in this episode. Again, this was a very detailed battle. This was the longest Incited battle that we got, as she was able to overcome and defeat this character. And here's where we find out the true consequences of what happens in this game, because you see, when you lose, you not only lose your memories, but you lose your personality as well. You become a shell of the person that you used to be. So you're pretty much wiped out of existence. I mean, your body's going to be walking around, but you're not going to have any memories. You're not going to remember who you are or be the person that you used to be. And because of that, this person chose to become a selector. And I don't know, maybe he's trying to actually win and try to get his sister's memory back, because you can alter things. So we'll have to see what goes from there. But now this is weighing in heavy on Suzu, as she's kind of like, I didn't know this was the detail that I was going to go into. She even speaks to her Larig, and you says, you didn't tell me this was going to happen. And of course, when you're dealing with these things in these series, just like with Magical Girl Raisin Project, her Larig is basically like, well, you didn't ask. And they always leave out the little details, and our characters are always too deep in. That seems to always happen, and that's what's happening now, as Suzu really didn't know what she was getting into. She knew she wanted to run, but now she really wants to get out of this game. We also got a little bit more focus on Hana this episode, who is personally being my favorite character in this series because, for lack of better description, she's kind of like Spock from Star Trek. It's like she thinks very logically. The way she responds to things is very robotic and matter-of-factly. It's like she says, instead of yes, she says affirmative. People deny her to fight, and she says, you know, negative. useless. She just uses these one-word terms, and we see her going around looking for her selectors, and it seems like she just can't find anybody that will take a battle for her or somebody that's worthy of fighting her, because she actually runs into somebody that begs her to fight today because she was on her last coin. And not Hana, she didn't give a shit either. I mean, this character, even though Hana cleanly won the victory, because again, she probably has the most advantage of everybody in the series, because she is also a game reviewer, and on top of taking this game very seriously, the person that she defeated in this battle, she was begging, like, please let me stay alive long enough to see this person one last time before my memories disappear. And Hana was like, no, you challenged me. You put me in an inconvenience. What do I get out of it by letting you stay around? So nope, you're dead. And she sends her ability out to destroy this girl. And her lyric is scary as it can blind you. It can make like a fog go around the entire area so you can't see. And then it just makes a whole bunch of red spikes just come in and destroy the character. And again, she had no fucks given about this girl or her feelings as she took her out. And this is where it comes in once again, that person loses their memories and their personality, as a girl was just basically a shell and walked away after she left. And of course, Hana didn't care. She was just like, oh well. But something that came up as well is this girl said that she was sent by the bookkeeper. So it looks like we might be getting the threads of the main villain in this series. And I'm pretty sure we saw him in this episode. We saw like a dark-haired man looking on like with a lollipop. Yeah, that's gotta be him. But the biggest thing is, what is going to be his relation to Chinatsu as she comes home and sees this same man sitting in her room? So that was the episode in a nutshell. Again, it was a pretty good episode. This series, if anything, is consistent. It keeps you hanging by a thread, and it keeps you in, and it brings enough intrigue for you to come in every week to peel back more layers of what's going on with the story. And we finally got a battle that took place this time without it being off center. Like even Hana, even though she had a squash match, we still got a full battle. We got to see that instead of off camera battles that we got the past 2 episodes. So yeah, definitely let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments. If you like this video, go ahead and drop it a like. And if you want to hear more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. There's not a shortage of content for you to indulge on this channel. And as I always say, you guys can be anywhere on YouTube right now, but you chose to listen to me. I really appreciate that, so thanks for stopping by. On that note, it's your boy Infrar-Ed signing out. See you soon.